Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And I've been going over this 10-part series, Microsoft series, on the MVC3 MusicStore, trying to upgrade it to MVC5. So far I've gone through part 1, which was our overview and file project, about 11-page PDF. Then we went through part 2, which was where we created a home controller and a store controller, and that was about a 10-page PDF. Now I'm on part 3, views and models. The reason I'm telling you that is this is a 25-page PDF. So this may have to be broken into 2 different lectures. I don't know. I'm looking at the time right now and it says 7:08. So part 3 covers views and view models. All right. So far, as the author says, we've just been returning strings from controller actions. And that's not the way you do a real live website, because in a real live website, you're not going to be wanting to just return static stuff all the time. All right, you want the ability to have interactivity. So the author says here, we're going to want a better way to generate HTML back to browsers visiting our site. One where we can use template files to more easily customize the HTML content we send back. That is exactly what views do. All right. So a view will be a visual representation of what we are trying to have the program do at a certain point in time, and that view will be returned back to the user, typically. All right. So to use a view template, we'll change the home controller index method to return an action result and have it return the view like below. Now, one thing, just so you know, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to come into my project, and where I put all these other things in here, I'm going to now remove all these things that I commented. And the reason for doing that is that I'm getting code bloat because I'm putting, I've got stuff in here that I'm not using. But remember, since we're using get and version control, we can always revert back to those old ones if we want to. All right, so let me save that. And I think it's the home controller that we want to go to in here. So again, I'm going to remove that code that we put in but commented out, the original code. All right, so we want to change this so it looks like this. And it pretty much probably looked like what we had to begin with. So in fact, let's do that. Let's double check. Let's Control Z, Control Z. So we want public action result index return view. Is that what we're going to put? Public action result index. Well, the easiest way, let's copy it. Let's go back to our project and let's just plop that puppy in right down below where we are. Public action result return view. Yeah, so it's there. All right, so in other words, what I want to do is I want to get rid of this. All right, now I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this thing that said original code, and I want to uncomment this. All right, that's what we want. So in other words, what seems like we went a long ways, but what we've done is we've reverted back to the way it was originally. All right, but now we're actually talking about what views are about. So it says the above changes indicates that instead of returning a string, which is what we had before, we're now going to use a view to generate a result back. A view is a type of action result. We now add the appropriate view template to our project. To do this, the easiest way to do it is in our project here is to right mouse click on the word view and type in add view. All right, and you'll notice that when we do this, it brings up the add view dialog box. It's not exactly the same as what is in here, but it's very close. Notice it's got create a strongly typed view. We don't have that. They've got a partial view, so we'll look at some of this stuff later. All right. So the Add View dialog allows us to quickly and easily generate view template files. By default, the Add View dialog pre-populates. All right, so it does some work for us. Because we use the Add View within the index, it's got a name of index by default. When we click the Add button, which is what we're about to do, then it says it will create a new index.cshtml view template under the home. And if we don't have a home folder, it'll create it for us. So let's look. All right. So if we come back here, let's cancel this. And let's go back into our Solution Explorer. Under Views, we do have a home folder, but there's nothing in it. So we're going to right mouse click on the word View, go to Add View, call it Index, choose Add, and now inside of here where there was nothing, it's building. All right. Now we've got an index.cshtml file in here. All right. And I've got my handout here of this that I'm following along with. All right. Don't worry about these things here. You'll notice, like you said, when you highlight them, they go away. So that's fine. All right. So we already did have a home directory, but we did not have that file previously. We do now. Okay? All right. The name and folder location of index.cshtml. Remember, this means it's a Razor file. It's C# hypertext markup language. That's what the CSHTML stands for. So it is a HTML file which allows us, by using Razor syntax, to put C# code in it. All right. It says the name and folder location of this file is important and follows the default ASP.NET MVC naming convention. Views home matches the controller home. All right. The view template name index matches the controller method name to display the view. What does that mean? That means that if we go back to our home controller, it said here we want to return a view. All right. That view by default will be in something with the same name as this. So it's going to look under home. It's going to look for a file called index, and that's what it's going to return. Now, that was a very roundabout way of explaining it to you, but hopefully that made at least some sense. ASP.NET MVC allows us to avoid having to explicitly specify the name or location of a view template when we use this convention. All right. So, basically Visual Studio created and opened this file for us. These were the contents. So let's look at this. It said this view is using Razor syntax. So this is a line of Razor, or these are 3 lines, I guess, of Razor code. That's 1 line of HTML. All right. The web forms view engine is still available. We don't care about that. The first 3 lines set the page title using viewbag.title. We'll look at viewbag in more depth and breadth of coverage in just a minute. All right. They want us to change this so that rather than in that H2 tag, they want us, rather than having it just say index, they want it to say this is the home page. So let's go into here and highlight this. This is the home page. I'm going to save. Now, rather than a run, I'm going to just right mouse click and I'm going to do should be able to do a view in browser. There it is, view in browser. And see if this comes up and says this is the home page, which ideally is what it's going to say. Notice home index. Still thinking about it, still chugging away here. So let me remove these other older ones. I've got a lot of stuff open. So this is the home page. Here we go. All right. Not a whole lot in there right now, but it's fine. That's good. All right. So this is the home page. Now, ours looks a little different than the one here, and that's MVC 5 versus 3 stuff. We don't care. All right. Using a layout for common site elements. Most websites have content which is shared between many pages. For instance, headers, footers, navigation, logos, menus, etc. The Razor View image makes it easy for us to manage a page that's called _layout.cshtml, And that has automatically been created for us inside of our Views shared folder. Well, let's look. So let's first go over to Views, Shared, and there's the file. Okay? Double click on this folder to view the contents, which are shown below. Now they're not going to be identical, all right, because we're using a newer version of MVC. So the content from our individual views will be displayed by the render body command. And any common content that we want to appear outside of that can be added to the markup. We'll want our MVC Music Store to have a common header with links to our home page and store area. So we'll add that to the template directly above the render body statement. Okay? So right up above render body, there's body, there's render body. Okay? So right up above the render body statement, we're going to want to put in this. Again, I'm hoping we can do this and we don't have any problems trying to do this. All right, I'm literally doing it right in front of you for the first time. So, right up above render body, I'm going to hit enter and I'm going to paste this in. All right, so you can see all of it right there. Let's save. We'll run it as soon as they tell us to. All right, well, they didn't tell us to. So let's run it first, and then we'll come back and look at updating the style sheet. Let's just see right now what it looks like. So I'm going to go back to the project. They're not telling us to do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to choose, I don't want to do the layout. I want to go to the index file, right mouse click, and I want to choose View in Browser. This was the previous one right there. This will be the new one. So we'll see if it looks any different. All right, ASP.NET Music Store, Home and Store. This is the home page, so you can see what we've added. What we've added has been what's right here. Okay? All right. Let's go back to our program here. Okay. Next, we're told that we want to come in here and update our style sheet. And it says the empty project template includes a very streamlined CSS file which just includes styles, etc. Our designer has provided some additional CSS images to define the look and feel of our site, so we will add those now. The updated CSS files and images are included in the content directory of the MusicStore assets.zip file. We'll select both of them in the Windows Explorer and drop them into our Solutions Content folder as shown below. Well, I have grabbed these. I don't know if that's it or not. There's assets. So we want content, and we want the images, and the site.css. All right. So I'm going to try not to add them this way. I could right mouse click and just drag them in, but I'm going to try to do them in what's considered the pure way of doing that, and that is to go back to my project. All right, this site.css, I don't want to remove anything here. You never know when you might want to go back and use this, so I'm going to rename this. And I'm going to call it site original.css. Okay, now I want to right mouse click on the content folder, choose add, existing item, and now I want to find what I'm looking for here, which is right there. And I want to grab this, and I want to grab this. And it looks like it's going to let me grab them both. And I'm going to click Add. Well, I'm not sure why it did that. Well, it's allowing me to do the site. So I'll tell you what, let's do that again. Let's right mouse click on this, add, existing item. Again, come in here, again do this. Let's just start with site.css and we'll add that. There's our new site.css. Right mouse click again, add, existing item. Let's grab the whole folder. Click add. Well, it doesn't like that. So let's do this. Let's cancel. Let's come in here, right mouse click, and choose add, new folder, morning, and we'll call it images. All right. And then we will right mouse click on that images folder, add, existing item, come back to where we just were. Can we add all three of these? I hope so, and click add. All right, and there they are. All right, so we now have our updated site.css file, which we were given, and we've got our images. Okay, hopefully I didn't make any mistakes, but we'll find out as we get going here. All right, so I did that. Don't worry, I did it a different way. I renamed it so we didn't have to ask that. I've now got content with images in our site file. That's good. It says, let's run the application and see how our changes look on the home page. Ours may look like this. It may not. If I didn't do it right, of course, it won't look the same. So let's do a save all. Let's go back to our index.cshtml page, and let's view it in the browser. Again, if ours doesn't look any different at all, it's not a big thing. We'll make it work if it's at all possible to do so. So when we started, it first looked like this. Then we went in and made some changes, and it looked like this. Now we're making our third set of changes, and it looks like this. Well, that's a great start. All right. That right there, pretty much, as far as I can tell, does echo what's shown here. All right, the coloring's a little different, but I don't care. Okay. All right. So let's review what's changed. The home controller's index method found and it displayed the home index.cshtml view template. Even though our code called return view, and it did this because that's what it calls by default. Again, as it says, because we followed the standard naming convention. All right, so that's the first thing. Next, the home page displayed a simple welcome message that we defined inside of there. And third, our home page used the underscore layout.cshtml template. All right. So, far as I can tell at least, it's looking pretty much the way that we want it to look. All right, I think I'm going to stop right here and we'll put the next part in as a part 2, all right, of this as I go on and we talk about using a model to pass information into our view. We're not quite half done, but we'll get that done when we come back. So I'll be back with that in just a couple moments.